So a report just came out that Luka Doncic is not happy with the execs with the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban calls it bullshit. Let's talk about it. Coming up in just a minute. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. And in this video, we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks and what they need to do to keep Luka Doncic happy, or is Luka going to ask to get up out of there? All right, let's wrap this bad boy up, put up bow on it. Jimmy, there's an article that came out today.
All right.
That from The Athletic, Tim Cato and Sam Amick, this was basically what they said. Inside the Mavericks front office, Mark Cuban's shadow GM is causing a rift with Luka Doncic. So in this article, I'm going to give you guys just kind of a synopsis on it. It's basically saying that Mark Cuban hired a guy to be their quantitative analytics and development coach, a.k.a. it felt like a co-GM. Haralabos Vulgaris.
Yes.
Is the name. I think they call him Bob. And
so that's his name, what they call him, Bob.
Bob.
All
right. So Bob is supposedly, I'll go by his last name. We'll just go by Vulgaris. He is infamous for having a little bit more control than people think he should. And he's done a few things that have been timelined that has shown that he's frustrated Luka Doncic. Like one time he kind of gave the motion like to calm down piece, and Luka looked at him and screamed out, "Don't tell me to bleep and calm down." In which I don't think he was telling it to Luka. I think he was telling it to the team in general. And I'm correct based upon that. The guy never showed up to another game again for the rest of the season. But he has a lot more backdoor power that people don't realize. Like there was another portion of this article they were talking about how before the draft, he basically made the two selections for them, and the scouts didn't even know that he was making these picks. So overall, and now, of course, coming full circle, Mark Cuban is saying this is all bullshit, which is even more funny that Mark Cuban thinks that people inside of his offices ain't snitching, even though Mark Cuban does have a great system to where everyone has to put their phones on the table and they cannot leak their pick out to Adrian Wojnarowski before they actually make the selection. So which is pretty interesting. But my point behind all of this is, and with the synopsis, is that Luka ain't happy. And so the question is it fair or unfair to say that Luka might ask to get out of Dallas?
I would say that is fair. I think we've seen just how impactful these relationships. I mean, working in an organization, doing great things, it's all about relationships. It's all about the culture. The culture, in a sense, is defined by those relationships, or maybe vice versa. So in this Dallas organization, if you have a rift between, I call him the shadow GM, Vulgaris.
Yes.
The shadow GM
Vulgaris,
and your star player, who's not only a star player, but could very well be the face of the NBA in about 3 to 4 years, that is problematic, because this could represent someone who your superstar player does not feel comfortable working with, someone they feel like they can't trust. And whenever a star feels like they don't like the person that they work with, who's in a high-ranking position, whose decisions affect their ability to do what they do on the court or on the field to the best of their ability, and it's somebody who, like I said, I guess you can't trust, then that is problematic. It's something that can be underestimated. So I see a parallel to this in a way between what's going on in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and the GM Brian Gutekunst. That part of the reason why Aaron Rodgers so far doesn't want to be there and hasn't been there is because of his lack of trust and his damaged relationship.
He kind of said
Brian
that.
Gutekunst. Yeah. So I see this as the exact same thing, but I think that this has a very easy fix. Well, it's not easy in theory and on paper. It's easy, but actualizing it is not going to be easy. Regardless of how he feels about this shadow GM or the rift that this might be causing within the front office organization of the Mavericks, I think that this is all solved if Luka Doncic gets a number 2 that pushes Kristaps Porzingis down to number 3 or off the team, because I've also seen a report where he and Kristaps don't have good chemistry both on the court and off the court. So this whole thing gets swept away if this offseason, this shadow GM, Vulgaris, can get him a legitimate number 2 by hook or by crook, by trading, it won't be through the draft because that would take too much time to develop. And Luka wants to win right now. Yes, he's 22, but he is ready to win right now. So regardless of what they feel about each other, this all goes away with that. I have some candidates who might be possible number 2 replacements for the Mavericks team that they could take a look at. And if he's able to get one of those, that fixes this somewhat, mostly. But this, I mean, it's articles like this and it's things like this that, you know, when we look back on why this relationship ended and why this star player doesn't finish their career in a certain location, we'll look back on something like this, and this could be the beginning of that.
Okay.
Yeah. You had this look on your face. Can't help because I'm sitting 4 feet away from you. So
right.
Was it the part where I said, was it the legitimate number 2 part, getting him one of those and that will fix this entire thing, or was it something else?
I don't think it's fair to say that Luka's going to ask to get out. So his rookie extension's coming up.
Yeah.
They're going to give him the most money.
Right.
If he doesn't take it, he will be a restricted free agent. And whoever gives him the most money, the Mavericks will definitely take him at a discount and snatch him back up. He's not leaving Dallas.
Right.
He can try to proclaim anything he wants in this era of player mobility and establishment. If you got that many years left on your contract, you're not going anywhere. The closest thing we've had to a player get traded because they wanted to be traded and they had years on their contract is James Harden. That's the only reason why. Because James turned down $50 million a year. He turned down $50 million a year. Mm-hmm. That told the owner he's going to walk. And if he walks, I can't let him walk away like that. Luka? Mm-hmm. Damian Lillard? Mm-hmm. Nah, y'all got 4 years. So you can make the choice of not playing and they don't have to pay you. Or you play and you just wait till your contract is up. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have enough time or leverage to even try to get out of Dallas. Mm-hmm. But with that, them getting him a solid number 2, there's only one way they're going to do that. They got to get rid of Donnie Nelson and need to get rid of Vulgaris.
Donnie Nelson?
Yes, Donnie Nelson.
What's he done to anybody?
Donnie Nelson is the president of basketball operations. Yes. What has he done since he's been there the last 10 years? Yeah, right, exactly. He hasn't done anything.
Well, besides trading up to get Luka?
Besides, flip-flopping spots to get Luka.
Fair enough.
I think that was probably more of a Cuban piece. They drafted Trae Young, which I'm trying to figure out why they drafted Trae Young. But anyway, my point, which I probably just got the picks flip-flopped. I can look that up, but why would I look that up right now? We're talking about this. Their problem is Donnie Nelson. They need to go ahead and move on from their president of basketball operations, move on from this shadow GM. They need to bring in some new experts. They need to bring in some new blood. They also need to go ahead and move. Well, you could probably keep Rick Carlisle, but the question you have to ask yourself, let me pull all that back. My bad. I'm going to pull everything I just said back.
Okay.
Mark Cuban used to walk up to Luka Doncic. Here's the blank check. Well, actually, here's the check for that max extension I'm going to give you. Who do you want to be your coach? Who do you want to be the GM? I will hire whoever you want me to because I need to keep you here in Dallas. That will keep us relevant. You want me to trade Kristaps Porzingis for a bag of potato chips? I will gladly ship him out for a bag of potato chips. I'll take back a bad salary just so we can find you another number 2.
Well, you know what? I always say the empire always strikes back. So in an era of player mobility where players who are unhappy use their leverage in order to get to a happier place, that is the antidote to that, is not only giving them the type of money that they want, but allowing them to have personnel decisions, which if you notice more and more, especially in the NFL, players are wanting more. They're wanting more input, which
quarterbacks are wanting more input.
Yeah. Which essentially leads to more control over those front office and on the field personnel decisions. So that is the answer to that. So I agree that that's what he would do. I think that could work. I do think getting rid of the shadow GM, and I don't think Donnie Nelson is a problem. I think that that article focused on Vulgaris as being the main part of the problem in terms of his relationship with Luka. So maybe getting rid of him would help to fix this. But nobody is unmovable. Now, if I'm Luka and you're staring at a 5-year, $200 million contract, which you'll be eligible for because of the All-NBA team, so $40 million per, if my math is correct. So he's definitely going to sign that. I mean, because you just have to.
You're not stupid.
Yeah, but still in the era of player mobility, haven't we seen players with really large contracts like that get moved who make nearly $40 million a year because we didn't think it could happen with Westbrook and his contract He got moved. We didn't think anybody would take up CP3's contract. 2 teams did. And we didn't think anybody would move John Wall's contract. He got moved, albeit that was for Westbrook. So just exchanging one for another. But still, those guys can move.
No, I'm not saying that they can't be moved.
Yeah.
Dallas is not trading Luka Doncic. That would be 1, idiotic. 2, it would be stupid. And 3, it'd be freaking dumb. They're not going to trade Luka Doncic. And that's the thing about it. Luka has no leg to stand on. This is what Luka can do. If Luka wants to get out of Dallas, he needs to go back home. Literally put a for sale sign similar to the Deshaun Watson situation and every other. Pull a Carson Palmer. Put your sign out in front of your house and say, I'm just not going to come back. Go back overseas and play basketball there. Not even come back here. Period. Because that's the thing. He's not. I repeat, he is not going to get traded out of Dallas because he does not have any leverage. Now, when it comes to those players you're talking about, the only reason why those moves happened is because all of those teams were trying to shift things around. They all needed a change. Houston got rid of Chris Paul because him and James Harden didn't work out. So they thought that Westbrook, because their contracts are the same, and Chris Paul was falling apart, it would work. They could send them for each other. And then when they realized that the Harden thing wasn't going to work out, Harden was like, I'm not signing this $50 million a year extension, which is still preposterous to me, but also told me that dude was serious.
Yeah.
He literally put a sign in front of his house and said, hey, when my contract's up, I'm walking away.
Right.
They realized we have to take something for him. We cannot just we can't let him walk away. We cannot let every team in the NBA saw what happened to Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant and said they will not let that happen to them if they can avoid it. That's the reason why all this is happening. Because Oklahoma City was like, you know what? We'll trust our process. If it works, he'll stay. If it doesn't, he doesn't, and we'll figure it out from there. Every other team said, oh, that hell no, that ain't happening to us. We're not going to let that happen to us. So that's why the Chris Paul trade for Westbrook happened, and that's why the Westbrook trade happened for John Wall. That was a swap of contracts. Like you said, it was all the same money. Right. It's not like the question is who is going to trade for Luka and who is Dallas going to get back that they would actually want.
I mean, you go through a number of scenarios for that. I mean, in all it can.
You got to look at the money. You got to look at 2 things: the money and the talent.
Who
else?
It's not easy. It would take time, but it can happen. I'm not saying he's going to do that at the end of this offseason or the next, but eventually, if this guy stays and the relationship doesn't get better and he doesn't get a legitimate number 2, yes, he will.
In 6 years, I agree with you. But guess what? That's when he can say, I will be an unrestricted free agent after this season, and I'm going to walk. He has the leverage at that point. I'm just saying today, this offseason, zero leverage.
Yeah. No, not this offseason. But do you agree?
Future, yes.
But do you agree with me that if they get him a legitimate number 2, I got some names here I want to give to you. If
okay,
they get
give
him
it to
a legitimate
me.
number 2, that fixes everything?
No, it doesn't fix everything, but I think that will pacify some things.
What doesn't that fix, though? If he gets a legitimate number 2 that can get him past the Clippers next season?
Does it get him to the NBA Finals? That I think that's the piece. Luka's here to win. A lot of these players were initially here to make money. Yeah. They're making stupid money now. So at this point, they only care about chips. It's the only thing that matters. Mainly because fans have treated it as that you can't be great if you don't win championships, which is like the stupidest thing in the world as well.
Okay, all right. So never mind the logistics of each one of these. What I want to know is if they got this particular individual, would this fix or pacify most of what's going on in Dallas between Luka and the front office?
Give it to me.
So give your name. All right, Bradley Beal. Would that fix it?
That could pacify some things.
I had 2 on here, but I'm not going to mention those. Jaylen Brown, who you've been trying to get traded out of Boston for a year and a half.
Yeah, I have. I think that could help. Yeah.
Okay. Buddy Hield.
I think a change of environment would make Buddy into a different player. He can shoot.
He's not happy in Sacramento.
No.
He's on I think his contract was 4 years, $94 million.
Yeah, he was also booty. He was also booty last year or so. But at the same time, I think being unhappy in Sacramento. Okay. They need to move Sacramento to Seattle, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, all right, last one, DeMar DeRozan.
But he'll be available. They can actually get him. I think he's a free agent.
Is he?
I think he'll be a free agent this year. I have to look that. Let me verify. I think he's going to be free agent range at least. He can get a bucket.
If not, he is very close. He's got to be very close.
He can get a bucket.
Yeah.
He can definitely get a bucket.
He's a legitimate number 2 to a Luka number 1.
Oh yeah, this is his last year on contract.
Coming up or already?
Already.
So he's
a free agent. He's a free agent this year. Yeah.
He might be the most, outside of Kawhi Leonard, who everyone pretty much expects to stay in LA, well, depending upon what happens in this series, he might be the most prized free agent that's going to be out. Everybody's going to want DeMar DeRozan. Everyone who's got the space, who is a DeMar DeRozan away from at least getting to their conference finals, I mean, he's going to make a killing.
Yep, somebody's
put them in a
pay
bidding war against each other.
See, so hey, I could totally see DeMar going to LA and being a Laker.
He's from LA.
That's what I'm saying. I can see him in LA with the Lakers, and I bet the Clippers better get on the phone and call that man. They better beg for his services, beg for some sort of a sign and trade deal or something.
It's all about who already knew this ahead of time, which should have been everybody, and who's been nurturing that relationship. We know LeBron James is a master at this, and I guess to some degree Draymond Green, right?
Yep.
In Golden State, nurturing relationships 1 or 2 years leading to that player being an unrestricted free agent.
Oh man, we gotta have a whole segment and show talking about
DeMar
free
DeRozan
agency, because I
sweepstakes.
love the DeRozan sweepstakes idea.
Yeah.
Because he can get a bucket. He may not be the greatest, but he can do some things that
Yes,
you
he can.
need
Yes, he can.
on the offensive side, and that's been proven. So, okay, Jimmy.